Hey everyone, welcome back to your channel name. For most of recorded history, if you asked, who's the richest, most powerful place on Earth? The answer was almost never Western Europe. It was China, or India, or the Middle East, or even Mesoamerica in its own way. Yet, sometime between 1500 and 1900, a handful of rainy countries on the edge of the Atlantic suddenly overtook everyone else and stayed on top for centuries. Today, we're answering the big question: how and why did Western Europe diverge from the rest of the world? Let's go all the way back. Chapter 1. Before 1000 CE, Europe is the backwater, 045 to 200. In the year 1000, Western Europe was a mess. The Roman Empire had collapsed 500 years earlier. Trade networks were broken, cities shrank, literacy plummeted. Meanwhile, China under the Song dynasty had paper money, gunpowder, massive iron production, and cities of over 1 million people. The Islamic Golden Age stretched from Spain to India, with world-class universities in Baghdad and Cordoba. India was exporting spices, textiles, and mathematics. Yes, Arabic numerals actually came from India. GDP estimates by Angus Maddison show that in 1000 CE, China and India each had roughly 25 to 30% of world GDP. Western Europe, less than 10%. Europe was poor, fragmented, and technologically behind. Fast forward 800 years, and the picture is completely reversed. Chapter 2. The late medieval turning point, 1300 to 1500, 2 to 330. Three things started to crack Europe open. The Black Death, 1347 to 1351. Horrible, but it killed 30 to 60% of the population, driving up wages and breaking the feudal system. Labor suddenly became scarce and valuable. The Renaissance and rediscovery of Greek Roman texts via the Arab world and Byzantium refugees after 1453. The military revolution, gunpowder weapons, favored centralized states that could afford cannons and standing armies. But the real game changer was geography plus fragmentation. While China and the Ottoman Empire were huge centralized land empires, Europe was split into hundreds of competing states separated by mountains and seas. No single empire could dominate everyone forever. If your king taxed too hard or banned new ideas, merchants and intellectuals could move to the next kingdom. Competition bred innovation. Chapter 3. The Age of Exploration that wasn't about exploration, 330 to 5. Everyone knows Columbus discovered America in 1492. But why were Europeans the ones sailing west in the first place? Short answer: they were trying to bypass the Ottoman-Venetian monopoly on the spice trade. The Portuguese developed the caravel ship and better navigation because tiny Portugal had to find a way around the Muslim middlemen. Once Spain hit the silver jackpot in Potosi, Bolivia, and Portugal cornered spices, an insane amount of precious metal flooded into Europe, especially Spain. But here's the twist: Spain squandered most of it on religious wars and failed to build industry. Meanwhile, little countries like England and the Dutch Republic took that same silver, bought Asian goods, re-exported them, and built commercial empires. By 1700, the Dutch had the highest GDP per capita on Earth and a stock exchange more sophisticated than anything in Asia. Chapter 4. The Scientific Revolution and Enlightenment, 1600 to 1800, 5 to 630. This is where Europe really breaks away. Between 1500 and 1750, almost all the major breakthroughs in science happened in Europe. Copernicus, Galileo, Kepler, Newton, Leibniz, Harvey, Boyle. The list is ridiculous. Why here and not in Ming China or Mughal India? Historians argue printing press, 1450s, made knowledge cheap and permanent. Religious fragmentation, Protestants wanted to read the Bible themselves. Literacy boom. Universities competed instead of being controlled by one empire. The Republic of Letters. Scientists across countries corresponded and criticized each other openly. By 1750, Europe had a culture that rewarded questioning authority, both religious and intellectual. Chapter 5. The Industrial Revolution, the Great Divergence, 1760 to 1900, 630 to 830. Now we reach the explosion. Britain industrializes first. Why Britain? High wages, thanks to Black Death legacy, made labor-saving machines profitable. Abundant coal plus iron right next to each other. Secure property rights and a patent system that actually worked. A global empire that provided both raw materials and protected markets. Culture of useful knowledge. Clockmakers talking to scientists. Think James Watt and the steam engine. Between 1820 and 1913, Western Europe and its offshoots, USA, Canada, Australia, went from approximately 20% of world GDP to over 60%. China collapsed from approximately 33% to under 5%. India from approximately 25% to under 5%. Steamships and railways shrank the world, and whoever industrialized first could project power everywhere. Chapter 6. Was it just guns, germs, and steel? Or something else? 830 to 930. Jared Diamond famously said, geography